Chapter 130. Su Anan. You slut, you shamelessly stole your brother-in-law. Susie Han scolded. Her words were unpleasant to hear, causing Mu Jinyu to frown. Mu Jinyu still didn't know that when Susie Han scolded people, she was no different from a shrew. Susie Han, don't provoke me, Su Anan said angrily. To explain it clearly to Mu Jinyu and then to Susie Han, she was so tired that she died. Susie Han ignored Su Anan's threat and said with a cold smile, Mu Jinyu and I are already married. If you poke your nose into our marriage, you are the shameless Xiao-san. Susie Han clamored as people walked in and out of the entrance of the hospital. Hearing Susie Han's words, they all looked at her strangely. They looked down on little San, looked down on the woman who destroyed the family of another. Su Anan looked at the passerby who was pointing at her, and heard Mu Jinyu say to Su Zihan, Zihan, what nonsense are you spouting? Seeing Mu Jinyu speaking up for Su Anan, Su Zihan became even angrier. Brother Jinyu, I love you with all my heart. You treat me like this. Just because Anan is prettier and younger than me, you took a fancy to her. As Su Zihan said that, her tears rolled down her eyes, trying to attract the attention of the people on the street, so that they could scold Su Anan. Big sister's acting is quite good, Su Anan ridiculed. I'm not interested in other people's husbands. Su Anan said. Her own husband was so good, how could she fall for someone else? I'm not like you and Auntie Jiang, who like to steal other people's things. Even if your mother is Mistress Su now, she's still a shady mistress, she sarcastically said. Back then, when Jiang Mei fancied Su Hua, regardless of whether he had a family or not, she had used all kinds of methods to sleep together with him. After that, she tried hard to force Su Anan's mother to give up Madame Su's seat. If Jiang Mei didn't force her, how could her mother have died? Su Anan looked at Su Zihan with additional hatred. You're lying. Su Zihan couldn't stand others saying that her mother was Xiao-san, Su Hua's lover. Therefore, for the past few years, it was not easy for her to go against Su Anan. I am the legitimate first miss of Su family. You, Su Anan, are just a slut, Su Zihan scolded. She did not remember to pretend to be gentle. Su Zihan, what are you roaring for? Is to tell everyone that you are an illegitimate daughter who cannot be seen in public. Su An laughed coldly. Su Zihan could not take it anymore. She hated hearing the two words illegitimate daughter. In the past, when Jiang Mei brought her out to participate in banquets, she had heard a lot of people saying that she was an illegitimate daughter. If Su Hua was present, Su Hua would actually let them talk about him and his mother. Su Anan, shut up, Su Zihan bellowed. She could not control her anger and ran over to slap Su Anan. Su Anan was waiting for her to come over. She had already thrown Mu Jinyu over her shoulder. It would be even easier to beat him up. With Gu Mosheng's protection, she had nothing to worry about. Su Zihan's hand hit over. Su Anan grabbed it, and then her other hand slapped over. Su Zihan was beaten senseless. This was not the first time she was beaten up by Su Anan, but rather the first time she was beaten up by her. Su Anan, you dare hit me. Su Zihan covered her face and said while crying. Su Anan felt that Su Zihan just needed a spanking. Every time she saw her, she would find trouble with her. Su Zihan, you pissed me off once and I'll give you a slap. You can try cursing me as a bitch next time, Su Anan threatened with a cold expression. Her cold and harsh words made Su Zihan think of Gu Mosheng. Su Zihan held onto her face that was in pain from Su Anan's beating, and tears welled up in her eyes. She did not dare to go up and provoke Su Anan again. Su Anan vented her anger and walked towards the hospital. Lady Mu had followed Mu Jinyu out, and when she saw Su Zihan's crazed look, and then saw Su Anan coming towards her, she wanted to greet her, but she didn't know what to say. After Su Anan left, Su Zihan regained her senses. She looked at Mu Jinyu, who was beside her, and asked angrily, Mu Jinyu, are you a man or not, letting other women beat your wife? Mu Jinyu Lang coldly glanced at Su Zihan and ignored her. The current Su Zihan was more and more annoying to him. Jinyu, what do you mean by this? You useless man just watched his own wife get beaten up. I asked for it, Mu Jinyu Lang said. After Su Zihan heard his words, she clenched her fists and punched Mu Jinyu. Mu Jinyu's hands were bound. He could not even retaliate in time. He dodged Su Zihan's punches, and the arm that was locked in place started to hurt again. When Lady Ma saw that her son was once again beaten up by Su Zihan, she angrily went forward to slap Su Zihan. She felt wronged that Su Zihan had suddenly been slapped. Not only was he not making decisions for her after being slapped by Su Anan, he even got beaten up by Lady Ma. Susie Han, are you crazy enough? Lady Mu said in a stern voice. Someone like you is worthy to be Jinyu's wife. Do you look like a wife? To hit your own husband in front of so many people, you are shameless. You are shameless. Susie Han was scolded by Lady Mu until tears fell from her eyes. You guys are bullying me. She clenched her fists. Jinyu, just you wait. My mom and grandma won't let you go. After saying that, she turned around and ran away while crying. Mu Jinyu watched as Susie Han left with a dark face. Lady Mu said to Mu Jinyu worriedly, Hey, I went too far just now. If she goes back, Jiang Mei will not spare us. How about I call her and apologize? Lady Mu thought. No need. Mu Jinyu Lung said, let her mess around. But? Lady Ma still wanted to say something, but Mu Jinyu said, Mom, my hand feels a little painful. Hearing that Mu Jinyu said that his hands were in pain, Lady Mu immediately brought him in to look for a doctor. This hand had only been connected for a few days. Don't be interrupted by Su Zihan again. After breaking it a few times, Jinyu's hands were not going to be crippled anymore. The people at the entrance of the hospital had already dispersed because of Su Zihan's departure. They initially thought that it was a play by the mistress, seeing that it was Su Zihan who was looking for trouble. Su Annan had nothing to pack, so she quickly carried her bag out of the hospital. She called Uncle Chen and told him not to pick her up. After that, Su Annan made an appointment with Fu Xin, and she waited for him at the entrance of the hospital. She didn't wait for Fu Xin. She waited for Gu Zhen and the old lady Gu to come first. Seeing old lady Gu and Gu Zhen, Su Annan was startled. She thought they were here to see her. Hello, Dad. Mom, Su Annan said politely. He scrunched his face. He still remembered the last time he drank with Su Annan and got scolded by the old granny and Gu Mocheng. I'm fine. You don't have to come see me when I leave the hospital today. They were not only here to see if Su Annan was all right, they were also here to bring her to the Gu mansion. Let's go, Gu Zhen said to Su Annan in a bland voice. Su Annan was puzzled. Where should she go? She even made an appointment to go play with Fu Xin. Mom, I have a friend to play with. Su Annan was a little afraid of Gu Zhen. She turned and looked at old lady Gu, who was smiling at her. It just so happens that I have to call your friends over to our house to play. Madame Gu held Su Annan's hand. Such a good opportunity to trick Su Annan into going back home. How could she let her go? Go home? Su Annan was surprised. To the Gu mansion. She didn't want to. Why, you don't like living with the two of us. Old lady Gu immediately pulled down her face, pretending to be unhappy as she said, My son doesn't like us. Even his daughter-in-law doesn't like the two of us. That's true. He's already so old. He'll definitely be despised by others. Once old lady Gu finished, Su Annan immediately received it. No. If not, then come home with us. Old lady Gu was waiting for Su Annan's words, she said, while holding Su Annan's hand. Mo Cheng and I are on the phone, Su Annan said in Gu Mo Sheng's name. She had always felt that going to the Gu family was like going to a sheep in a wolf's den. Girl, you're afraid that we'll kidnap you, Gu Zhen said angrily. You came all the way here to pick you up, and you don't know what's good for you. Being scolded by Gu Zhen, Su Annan lowered her head. Old lady Gu immediately glared at Gu Zhen. Why was he being so fierce towards her daughter-in-law? It was Cheng Cheng who called us. He told us to take you to his house. I'm going to school tomorrow, Su Annan said again. Gu Zhen already had a cold face and ignored Su Annan. Your father greeted us at the school. You just got injured, so you should rest at home for the next few days. Su Annan recalled that the principal of Gu Zhen and Ningcheng University was a good friend. If you don't want to go to school, then don't go. Su Annan thought about it again and again, but she could not find a good reason. Her dejected expression entered old lady Gu's eyes, and she saw through her thoughts. Can't think of a good reason yet. Obediently come back to your old dwelling with us for a few days. Don't worry, I won't bully you. Hearing that, Su Annan felt that she was about to be bullied by old lady Gu. Old lady Gu was in a good mood. She had finally tricked her daughter-in-law into Gu Mansion, and this was her first time meeting someone to show off her daughter-in-law. She would first bring Annan to a banquet to show off her daughter-in-law. As soon as Su Annan arrived at Gu Mansion, she received a message from Gu Mocheng. Just as Gu Mocheng was about to board the plane, he sent a message to Su Annan before shutting down her phone. Be good and wait for me to come back. The 6 words were Gu Mocheng's short style, causing her to purse her lips into a smile. Old Madame Gu, who was walking beside Su Annan, took a look at the text message. Cheng Cheng's method of chasing after girls is just as useless as yours. When the content of the text message fell into the eyes of old lady Gu, she said to Gu Zhen in disdain. Su Anan quickly closed her phone, and she heard Gu Zhen's hum. I have no tricks up my sleeve. You will marry me. I chased you first, Old Lady Gu said unhappily. Gu Zhen shook his head. Even now, he still thought that she was the one who had chased him. But who would have known that he had deliberately given her water? He didn't like her in his heart, so what was the use of her chasing after him? Well, the old woman was getting old and he didn't want to talk to her. Gu then walked ahead and ignored Old Lady Gu, who did not mind nor get angry. Right now, she had to focus on Su Anan. Anan. Old Lady Gu moved closer to Su Anan and said. Su Anan raised her head and saw a trace of craftiness in Old Lady Gu's eyes and had a bad premonition. Do you know how to knead mahjong? Su Anan was startled for a moment, then shook her head. She decided not to tell Old Lady Gu that she was good at playing mahjong and kneading mahjong. Hearing that Su Anan said no, Old Lady Gu was extremely happy. Her mahjong techniques were too lousy. Every time she lost to card friends, she would always try to find someone to play at the bottom. Her old man and Gu Ziming were both powerful. Now, she had finally found someone at the bottom so that she could show off a little bit. I'll call Ziming and ask him to come back and play mahjong, Old Lady Gu said happily. Gu Ziming's eyes had been twitching when he received Old Lady Gu's call. He was scolded by Old Lady Gu to the point that he did not dare to go out and mess around. Thus, he obediently went to class today. Grandma, I'm in class. Now go home, Old Lady Gu said. Grandma, I'm really in class right now. I can't leave, Gu Ziming explained. Our professor is famous for being strict in school. If he finds out that I skipped school, my optical scores would be deducted. Gu Ziming didn't want to go back to the old residence. The moment he went back, Old Granny wouldn't let him go no matter how bored she was. I told your grandfather to call the headmaster. They were on good terms. Old Lady Gu thought of going through the back door. Gu Zhen, who was in the living room, heard Old Lady Gu's words and frowned. He asked him to call someone. Previously, when he made Su Anan not stay in the dorm, he had only helped Su Anan get a treat yesterday. But now he was helping Gu Ziming get a leave of absence. And the real reason that Gu Ziming had asked him was that the old lady was missing 1 in 3, wanting to screw him over. It's not good for grandmother to do this, right? Gu Ziming felt that it would be bad if Old Granny suddenly asked for a leave of absence for him. What's wrong with that? Your granny, I miss you, Old Lady Gu said disapprovingly. Gu Ziming didn't want to go back, so he wanted to say more. Old Lady Gu said angrily, if you don't come back, I will have your grandfather go to school and beat you up. I told you to go online every day and go for a spin outside every day. Old Lady Gu said angrily, come back quickly. I want to see you in an hour. No, her hands were itchy now and she couldn't wait an hour. Half an hour. With that, Old Lady Gu hung up the phone proudly. She looked at Su Anan, who was sitting on the sofa and staring at her, and revealed a smile. Anan, wait for Ziming to return. When Gu Zhen heard this, he was annoyed. He got him to call the principal of the university to help her ask for a leave of absence just to find someone to give her a hard time. Nonsense. Old Lady Gu saw him standing up and walking away, then said to his back, come to the living room yourself in half an hour. Gu Zhen was furious. He went upstairs and still called his friends on his phone. The call Su Anan made to Old Lady Gu was extremely strange. She was completely terrified by Old Lady Gu's stare. Something really bad happened to her. Anan, I'll go to the kitchen to make you some soup. You can sit first. Old Lady Gu felt that she should make Su Anan a bowl of soup during this half an hour of time. With the stew ready, Ziming came back. I don't want it. Thinking about the taste of the soup Old Lady Gu made last time, Su Anan shook her head and did not want to drink anymore. Didn't you say it was delicious? Old Lady Gu did not take Su Anan's words to heart. I have improved on the soup this time. The taste will definitely be better than before. No one dared to drink what she had cooked, as Old Lady Gu could only torment Su Anan. Su Anan looked at Old Lady Gu's happy face as she got up and headed to the kitchen. She felt that if she said that she was leaving now, would they let her go back to school? Uncle Chen delivered the whitey to Su Anan. This was Gu Mosheng's intention, for fear that Su Anan would be bored inside the old mansion. Su Anan was extremely grateful to Uncle Chen, who suddenly came. When Old Lady Gu stewed the soup, she took the whitey and went for a spin, trying to sneak out for an hour. When she returned, the Old Lady Gu was unable to wait for her, and gave the soup to others to drink. Who else in the Gu family would drink from the old lady's cooking? It was only Gu Zhen. He was already tired of tormenting his own husband. She had already made up her mind. Su Anan led the whitey out of the Gu mansion's garden. She didn't go far when she heard the boy's angry voice. He and this name Fu Xin knew was Gu Ziming. She turned her head and saw that Ming Xiao, who was wearing a helmet, was riding a locomotive towards her. Su Anan looked around and didn't know which road she should take. Besides, her legs didn't seem to be able to outrun the two wheels of the locomotive. After Gu Ziming and the old mistress finished the call, he stood up and walked out of the classroom with a swagger, causing the professor to stare at him. No one had skipped his class in the open. Gu Ziming stood at the doorway of the classroom and explained to the professor, "My granny is looking for me to rub mahjong. My grandfather has already called the principal to help me request a leave of absence. The reason for skipping class?" The professor was so angry that he threw the book in his hand at Gu Ziming. Gu Ziming immediately ran. Since he was protected by his grandfather, what was there to be afraid of? Riding on his precious locomotive, Gu Ziming quickly headed towards Gu Mansion. If he came back too late, he would have been killed by his grandmother. Before he even reached the entrance of the Gu Mansion, he saw a familiar person holding on to a familiar dog. The most important thing was the person. Wasn't this girl the Hien who played with him yesterday? Seeing this enemy, how could Gu Ziming not be angry? This time, he wanted Hien to run naked. Hien. Seeing that Su Anan wanted to escape, Gu Ziming increased the pedal and quickly rode in front of her. "Where else do you want to run to?" Su Anan turned to look at him. Even if she wanted to, she couldn't run away from him. But he is so handsome. Su Anan stared at Gu Ziming's locomotive and could not help but reach out to touch it. "Hien, I waited at the entrance of your dorm for a long time yesterday," Gu Ziming said as he grinded his teeth. Thinking about how he was played by he and again, he hated himself to the core. Her. Su Anan laughed and said, "That's because of your foolishness. It was really stupid to believe someone so easily. You." He got off the car, took off his helmet, and said to Su Anan with a gloomy face, "You have to return it to me today." "Return what to you?" Su Anan asked. "None of us lost the last match, and neither did we win. Therefore, he did not need to listen to Su Anan's conditions and go and perform some underpants dance. "You have to jump," Su Anan said. No matter what she said, he would believe her, and would not find anyone she knew to verify it with. So what else could it be other than Gu Ziming's brain? Being told that by Su Anan made Gu Ziming's face turn green, and that was because he was angry. You must run naked for me today. He thought about it again and again. If his underwear was dancing, then Su Anan would have to run naked to return it to him. "Since you're a girl, run around in your underwear." Gu Ziming's expression softened as he said complacently, "If you don't fulfill the conditions I've mentioned today, you won't be able to leave." Su Anan looked at Gu Ziming, who was unwilling to let her go, and thought in her heart, "How do I escape? What's the difference between running around in underwear and running around naked?" If Gu Mosheng knew that she had made a bet with someone else earlier, it would be weird if he wasn't angry. Her. Su Anan smiled at Gu Ziming. "Ming Xiao, are you going to run here?" "There aren't many people here. What meaning is there if I run?" Su Anan said. "Let's avoid today's situation first." This was the outskirts of the city, and was the Gu family's villa. There were a few families nearby, and all of them were well-known figures in the Peace City. There were not many people, but if Su Anan was to run, it would definitely not be inferior to running around the city center. Gu Ziming looked around. It was cold here, and he did not see many people. No, if he did not let Su Anan escape today, he might not meet her again. "Let's run here," Gu Ziming decided. Seeing that he was not fooled, Su Anan became anxious, and lowered her head to look at the whitey beside her feet. Damn, whitey is a traitor. It had already circled around Gu Ziming, rubbing against his feet from time to time. Su Anan originally wanted the whitey to go up and bite the Ming Xiao, so she took the opportunity to run away. Now that the whitey and the Ming Xiao were establishing a friendly relationship, what should she do? He wouldn't really be running around here in his panties, right? "There are too few people here," Su Anan said. Gu Ziming took out his phone and said to Su Anan, "It's fine. I'll record it and put it on the internet." Su Anan was immediately dumbfounded. This Ming Xiao was really ruthless. Gu Ziming found the video on his phone. And when he faced Su Anan, the whitey was biting the corner of his pants, as if its life depended on it. He looked down at it and blurted out, "General, don't bite." General? Su Anan was familiar with her family's whitey. She wanted to use this whitey to get close to him. As Su Anan was thinking, she heard the angry voice of the old lady Gu. "Stinky kid, what are you standing there for?" Gu Ziming heard the voice of the old mistress, then looked at the time on his phone. Crap. He had been gone for more than half an hour, and Gran had been so angry that she had to let Gramps beat him up. Grandmother. Gu Ziming kept his phone, not caring about letting Su Anan run around naked. As he said that, he turned around to look at the approaching old lady Gu. I will enter right away. While he was speaking, he tried to push his own locomotive, but the old lady Gu called out to him and ignored him. She walked straight behind him. Anan, come in quickly. The old lady Gu smiled and said gently. Gu Ziming was stunned. He turned and looked at Su Anan, who was walking towards the smiling old lady Gu. You stinky kid. Hurry up and call for help. Gu Ziming was even more confused. Call someone? What was his name? Who was this, he and why did his granny treat her so well? It couldn't be that Grandma was too bored to find a matchmaker for him, right? Grandma, I'm still young, Gu Ziming said. Don't look for a girlfriend. The old lady Gu's face darkened and reprimanded Gu Ziming. What nonsense are you spouting? As she said that, Su Anan had already arrived in front of old lady Gu. From their conversation, she knew that Ming Xiao was old lady Gu's grandson, which was also her nephew. This sudden rise in seniority made Su Anan extremely happy. Call me aunt, old lady Gu said to Gu Ziming. Aunt? Gu Ziming felt that he must have heard wrongly. Why did he call her aunt? This girl was younger than him. Good boy. Su An smiled and replied. Ziming is really obedient. Be good and head over, Gu Ziming said angrily. The old lady Gu was angry. She reached out her hand and struck towards the back of Gu Ziming's head. You aren't courteous at all. Just wait for your second uncle to come back and beat you up. Gu Ziming was beaten up so badly by the old lady that it hurt. He rubbed his head. Why did his second uncle come back to beat him up? Aunt? He looked at the smiling Su Anan and thought back to what his grandparents had told him about second uncle finding a wife younger than him. Damn, he and his second uncle's wife. It wasn't that second aunt was obedient. The girl in front of him had been racing him 3 times. How could she be obedient? Fuck. Gu Ziming swore unwillingly as he knocked on the old lady Gu's head again. How dare you curse at me? Learn from your second aunt. Grandmother. Gu Ziming shouted in dissatisfaction. Learn from her? She's even more ruthless than he is. Do you want to learn this? Su Anan was afraid that Gu Ziming would betray her, so she quickly took the initiative to hold old lady Gu's hand. She sweetly called out to old lady Gu, Mom. Su Anan shouted so sweetly that it melted old lady Gu's heart when she heard her. Anan is still the most obedient. After saying that, old lady Gu glared at Gu Ziming and immediately pulled down his face. You stinky kid. What are you still standing there for? Why aren't you going to open the door for your aunt? Gu Ziming's heart was stuck, and he was actually allowed to open the door for Heian,